Welcome to Ninon Speaks, and of course you know who I am. I like to be known as Ninon, but it's Ninon de Vere Rosa, but it's just too long and it's too complicated, so let's just keep it Ninon. I have a fabulous guest. She's already evolving herself because that is her personality. She's amazing. Her name is Linda Kristy, and I met her, I don't know, just a few weeks ago. I've known you a long time, but I've never really spoken to you, and I never really knew what this lady does. That's typical me. I don't know what anybody does.
Well, I've known you for a long time.
A long time. Yeah.
But you're very, very famous in Las Vegas. And,
well, thank you.
Probably
I like
around
that.
the world. Wherever this goes.
It goes around the world.
Does it?
So you are going to go around the world. Whether you like it or not, you are.
Well, I like it.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You're a very beautiful woman, and I just kept looking at this woman, and I thought, I gotta find out who this woman is. Found out she's a singer, she's a writer, but look at her. Now this, Vegas is very fake. Everything in Vegas is, not everything, because obviously Linda's not fake. This is her real hair. I don't get jealous on anything. I got short, skinny hair, and you got long, beautiful hair. And
I know. The other day, this lady, she said, "Where did you get that wig?" And I said, "I don't. I've been very fortunate. God has been good to me."
Well, he has and he hasn't.
Okay, explain.
Deception. I married a con man.
Oh my goodness.
Now she's good or bad, but maybe God wanted you to go through that. I don't know.
Absolutely, God wanted me to go through it, and I didn't find him for. I'm on 77 now, going on that next time, and I just found Christ five years ago.
That's all?
Yeah. Actually, one of the priests or the pastors at the church that we were at, he said the average of a person my age finding Christ is 1%. I mean, I was an atheist.
Really?
Yes, and
what's it like to be?
What's it like?
What's it like to be an atheist?
It's empty and egotistical. That's what it is.
So you were egotistical within your life.
Yes, a very, very egotistical.
And your life is not empty. But did you ever think your life was empty? Because I personally think it could be empty without God. Because I think
yes,
it's like this morning. Something happened this morning which was quite amazing. I walked out to my car and I started it up, went back in again, and then I went back and locked the door, and I thought, oh no, I've got to go back and get this. So I went back into the house. I'd left all my jackets and everything in the house. I was going to drive off without them. Mm-hmm. So God was telling me to listen, go back in the house and do what you're supposed to do, which I had to do something. And I was going to say, it doesn't matter. But I didn't. I went back, and he only wanted me to go back to get my jackets. That's how God speaks to you.
He's very strategic.
He's very strategic. I mean, that's a long word, isn't it?
Isn't it a marvelous word?
Yes,
he is absolutely strategic. There are no mistakes with God.
Absolutely
or
not.
This journey.
Now, this
no
journey, deception.
Yeah.
I'm laughing at this. I married a con man. I've been in Vegas since 2012. And I absolutely love Vegas. But I've never met so many...
cons.
No, excuse the two gentlemen in here. Well, they're great guys. So many different men. Mm-hmm. They've all got an agenda, and I've never had that. I've never had a man with an agenda, and it's normally money. And I'm like, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. I'm not about to keep anybody. I can barely keep myself, never mind somebody else. So a man actually came along to you.
Yes.
And did you know? You didn't know at the time he was a con man.
No.
Did you know at the time he had no money and he was after you? You obviously had a lot of money at that time.
I did. I worked with Steve Wynn. I think I told you a little bit about.
Well, you can also tell the audience.
They want to
know. No,
okay.
It's not a secret.
Okay.
Yeah, you worked with Steve Wynn. What did you do with Steve Wynn?
Yes, I was a singer with Capitol Records, and I went to Japan. I had television and radio, my own. It was quite an interesting journey. I'd go to Hong Kong to change my visa and come back another 6 months to continue on. I was a German spy called Anna, and I spoke in Japanese. No, I spoke in Japanese, and that was it was called Hadakanomachi, and that means naked city. Ooh. And there was a television show in my youth called Naked City, and
really?
It was about
naked people.
No, not naked people. It was about a detective. It was a detective show.
Really?
And so they mimicked that, and I was Anna. And so they would have to write me out or kill me every 6 months so I could go to Hong Kong for 10 days and change my visa and come back and continue. So I did a lot of show business when I was in.
But you did a lot of acting as well
I
as.
did.
But what were you exactly? Were you an actress and a singer, or
Yes.
a singer and an actress?
All separate.
They were all
I would
separate.
tour in my singing.
Yes.
And when I wasn't touring, I would do television, movies, and radio. I had
Oh.
in Osaka. I'd go every Wednesday to do a radio show, and then go back and do my television shows, and in between time do movies. And you can imagine myself being in Japan with this, with this
With
hair.
this hair, and you probably had more then.
Well, it's about the same, I guess.
That's nothing's.
And nothing's
She's
really.
got her jeans must be really, really good, and I'm not talking about her trousers as we call them in England.
Yes,
But your jeans
I've always
must be.
had long hair, and
And your face is beautiful. I mean, you've got very, very few of those things called wrinkles.
We're not going to talk about that.
But
I
what we
do
don't-
believe we
we
talked
don't-
about that the other day.
And we dismissed that subject totally.
Yes.
How old were you when you started in the entertainment business and a singer? Probably very young. No.
I had a tutu on at 2-3 years old. My mother was a stage mother, and
Lovely.
I did classic piano. I did tap dancing, ballet. I was a professional gymnast. And
You just had all these talents wrapped up into one
yeah,
body.
yeah. And
So
I
you
got,
played the piano as well?
yes, not now.
No.
Not now. It wasn't one. I went all over the world. I mean, I was traveling so much I couldn't carry the piano with me, so I just
Well,
stopped.
people do have pianos.
I know. Now we can do that. But I just stopped, and I did what I did. I did most of my my singing
Yes.
on the road, doing tours and stuff like that.
And where did you start your singing? Where were you living? Where did all this start happening?
In Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Yes.
Oh, I love Hawaii.
I lived in Hawaii for 8 years. I started studying opera at the university. Dr. Remley was my doctor. And I studied for a year and found out I couldn't make money.
singing opera.
Singing opera at that time. So I got a job as a cocktail waitress at the Hilton Hotel at that time.
Yes, I know.
And
Yes, I know the Hilton very well.
Yeah?
That's one of the most beautiful hotels.
Yeah?
Yeah. In fact, that was my first vacation where I went with my husband.
Wow.
James, was the Hilton Hotel in Hawaii, and it was our first big vacation, and it was amazing.
Well, I lived there 8 years. I started singing there.
How beautiful.
And it was it was just out of sheer, I needed a job.
Did you sing in the Hawaiian language, or did you?
Yes,
'cause
I was a wedding singer, what they call a wedding singer. It's a very, very famous job, and I sang in 5 languages: Filipino, Hawaiian, Chinese, Japanese. That's where I started my Japanese language.
Wow.
And then when I went to Japan, I learned the language.
Are they all very similar? Because I've been told
No.
that Mandarin is the main language
They are.
to learn
Yeah.
all the other languages.
Yeah, they all have a certain ha he ha hu
Ha, ki,
sound
hu, hu.
in Chinese.
What did I just say? I don't know.
Chinese, and in Japanese, it sounds like more French because it's not
More singing.
Nihongo-
More
ni-
singing.
Well, singing, yeah,
Yeah.
and everything is. They're all different, of course.
They all have
of
their
course.
different
and
levels.
the Filipino is way different than Hawaiian. Hawaiian's
Well,
different
Filipino
than Chinese.
seems to me a bit harsher. Japanese is
Dahil
softer.
sa'yo.
Oh, go on, continue. Go ahead.
No, I don't. That's the Filipino song that I don't know anymore. But doing all these singing
Do
wedding
you know
songs.
a Japanese song?
Yeah.
Come on, sing a little bit
everybody.
of it.
Ue o muite aruko. You know this one, right?
Yes, of course.
Namida ga kobore nai yo ni omoidasu haru no hi hitori boshi no yoru. That's a sukiyaki. You remember that
Yes,
song?
of course I know
Yeah.
that song.
Yes.
The reason I watch it because when people talk about what they do and then people could get, oh, well, does she really do it? Well, now we know she really does sing.
Yes, I do.
Yes, she does.
Yes, oh yeah, I do.
What was your favorite singing language when you would want to go and sing? What was your favorite?
Japanese.
Because you have that talent. But how do you get all these talents for all these languages and
all
these instruments?
Now, I do have dyslexia, so I don't like to read. I like to hear. So
I'm not a big reader. I'm not a big reader either.
Yeah, so I have an ear for language.
But I read a lot on the computer, tremendous amount on the computer.
I'm not a reading fan. Matter of fact, I have no TV and I have no computer, specifically. I don't live that way because I study all the time. You study
all the time, the other way.
All the time. 24/7. Whatever I do, I study.
So with all, because I'm now confused. Totally confused, because with all these talents you have,
yes,
and everything you do, and you made a mistake with a guy. Well, not a mistake, because you didn't say it wasn't.
I made a mistake, and they blamed me. I was going to go to prison. The SEC
that's a switcheroo.
Wanted to put me in prison. Yeah. Well,
how did you escape that one?
I was a widow, and a couple of years later, I met this man through a comedian friend of mine. His name was Carmi. And Carmi introduced me to this Jewish man. And I said, oh, gee, wow. He said, why don't we get married? Because I'm into taking care of, he had a foundation taking care of seniors in wheelchairs. And
probably all waiting for them to die so they get their money.
That's exactly right.
Oh, I just said that one. I probably shouldn't have said that, but you know what? Anything comes out of this mouth.
I know. But he convinced me. Well, he's a very convincing person.
He's a con man.
He was a con man, and I had never. I'm from Indiana. I don't know what a con man is.
No, I don't know.
I know what a farmer is, but I don't know what a con man is.
You can milk the cows, right?
I milk the cows. And so he said, let's, if we got together.
Let's hurry up and get married.
Hurry up and get married.
Did he know you had a lot of money at that time? And did you have, this is the book, actually. I want
he
to
had
show
researched me. And
that's the book.
Yes, that's the house I bought.
And that's the house you bought.
Because I worked with Steve Wynn. I was his Japanese interpreter for 3 billionaire high rollers. And I did that for a few years.
Well, why don't you marry the billionaires rather than marry the Congos? Something went wrong
there. They were already married.
Oh, that was a bit of a problem.
Yeah. But anyway, we went over to Caesar's Palace and we got married after I knew him for 2 weeks. I mean, he really did a number on me. So then he sold my house, and I didn't realize. I lived on the Las Vegas Country Club.
Okay, yes.
And that's the Spanish Trails Country Club.
Yes.
My neighbors were Siegfried and Roy. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
But I know it sounds silly.
It sounds totally bizarre to me.
To be married.
I can understand a woman, because, a woman is a funny creature, which probably you men out there will agree with me 100%, I'm quite sure. But we can fall in love in a second.
Well, I didn't fall in love. I fell in love with a concept that he had talked to me about because the bigger, and it did talk to my girlfriend. She said the bigger the house, if you buy the house, the bigger the house, the more they contribute, and the more they contribute, the more people you can help.
And
so
he conned you into doing that, and your
just like a puzzle.
And your girlfriend agreed with you.
Yeah.
Well, fine girlfriend. Is she still a girlfriend?
No, and she has a mansion over where I was living, and. I shouldn't have ever asked her. That was my demise.
Well, you trusted her, and there's nothing wrong in that. I mean, come on,
So then I had a foundation. He wanted everything in my name, and I thought, oh, wow, oh, my goodness, okay. So I had control, but I also had...
he had control, which you didn't know about. He had control
that I was the secretary treasurer. I was in my
So
name.
how long did all that last? It was a couple of years, or
in the mansion, which I thought was mine, I was paying for. Oh God. Talk about stupid. Anyway, that was about 3 going on 4 years until they found him out. And he went up for another. It was right about the time Bernie Madoff was
also on his con job,
and they called him the Bernie Madoff of the West Coast.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
he was that famous.
Yeah, so he did another multi-million-dollar bad thing up in the state of Washington, and they got him on that, so we had to go up for that trial.
Okay.
And I'm saying, oh, it'll be all right. Everything's fine. The judge brings me up, and she said, what do you think of this man? And I said, he is so sweet. We take care of seniors. And as soon as I took a breath, she goes, boom, boom. Okay, take him out. and they took him. And it was like I was in a movie.
Were you shocked? Were you like...
I went into shock. Yes.
You would. I would think you'd have to.
I went into shock. I came back to Las Vegas. I don't even know how I got back here. I went into where I was staying, and I went into a corner, and I didn't eat, and I didn't sleep for 3 weeks. I lost 6 inches off of my hair without cutting it. I just lost my hair.
You lost your whole body.
Yeah. I couldn't believe.
You couldn't believe that you had actually
and then the
fallen for
SEC
this.
had called me through his lawyer and said that I was going to prison also. I was very, very fortunate to live through what they had done to me.
At this time, did you still have money, or had it all been...
No. He left me with nothing.
Well, he didn't have anything.
Then
what he had was yours.
Exactly. But he has people working for him. I didn't know that the lawyer was crooked. I didn't know that he had this real estate guy that did the number on me and the mansion. So the mansion was taken away.
So I'm looking at this.
Everything was gone, and I was homeless, and I borrowed my girlfriend's truck to sleep in the... I didn't want
talk about
to,
from rags to riches. This is from riches to rags. This is the reverse of the whole thing.
And it's true. God is very strategic. He needed me.
He wants to bring you all the way down to get to reality of what life really is, and he does that. Yeah. He does. I'm kind of on the reverse, but it's kind of funny and I'm listening to this. So I asked you about this book, and you said, well, it was you learned a lesson through it, and it wasn't something bad, it was something good. What made you turn around after being so bitter and feeling so bad and going into a corner for 3 weeks of not wanting to know anybody or anything?
It took me a while to understand what happened. It took me, I would guesstimate, it took me maybe a year to come around together. To get myself together and to find a place to stay.
How old were you at this time?
That was 13 years ago.
So it's quite recent.
Yeah.
Oh my giddy aunt, I thought there was something like happened in your 30s and 40s.
No.
So you made all that money and you worked hard and you traveled and you changed visas and you stayed in there in China and everywhere.
I was on top of the world.
You were so successful.
Yeah.
And then it kind of catapulted.
Yeah. Because I didn't know. Well, can I? His famous line was, he said, "Can I have another 100,000? Can I have another 50,000? Can I have this? Can I have that?" I said, "But don't you? You said you'd pay me back. You said you'd give me the money back." And he said, "I told you." He lived in Canada, and he said,
"I thought he lived with you."
Well, this is before, a long time ago.
Okay.
He said, "I have potato and blueberry farms in Canada, and they didn't do well this year." I said,
believed him.
And I believed him. So the next year came up, the same thing.
So there must have been, there was definitely a love in this arena.
There was a widow, a lonely widow that was scared. And I needed some
And you didn't want to try to disrupt anything by asking or looking into too much because you might lose him and then you'd be alone again.
Yeah.
So you were actually...
Loneliness is a terrible...
Yeah, I know. A lot of women tell me. It's funny, a lot of women talk to me, and I speak to a lot of women, obviously, and they say how lonely they are. I'm not lonely. I'm in my house, but I have a lot of stuff I do. Mm-hmm. So I'm never really lonely.
And that matters.
It does matter.
I got into painting. That didn't do it. I got into making things that I'm very
Well, maybe
good
you
at,
should get a computer. Maybe that'll do it.
Now, I am I'm alone. One day.
Do you love yourself now?
I can't. I wake up like Christmas morning every day.
Oh, how lovely.
Every day.
What a story.
I have Jesus Christ, and it's like, oh, are you I'm not religious. I have a relationship, and I know it. Either you do or you don't.
It's funny you say that because I don't really go to church all the time, but I've actually been religious all my life. I certainly, like everybody else in this world, knows what right is and what wrong is. We all know what right and wrong is. Sometimes we choose the wrong, sometimes we choose the right.
Yes.
I've been fortunate because I don't like to lie or cheat because I've got a kind of, I just don't go that way. If somebody asks me a question that I feel that I really don't want to answer, I don't answer. I've learned that for many years of being, a woman. And women have to be really, really careful. And like you, but you were in a place where, you were lonely. And you wanted a guy or whatever you wanted.
I remember that. I remember the feeling of lost.
You were
lost.
You know where that comes from, and it's funny, and I often look at this, and a lot of celebrities, I knew Hal Roach for many, many, many years, and Hal Roach was a big pioneer. He had the Hal Roach Studios in Culver City in Los Angeles. I knew him very, very well. My husband and I knew him very well. He was lonely, but he had experienced so much. He'd been around so many people all his life, and all of a sudden, like you, unless you're on that stage, unless you're in a crowd or at a function,
yes.
And then when you leave that function, at some point of leaving that function or that stage, you are alone. And normally it's when you go back to your house. And all of a sudden,
yes,
there's nobody here.
Yeah.
And you get, because the attention isn't there, and how great you are isn't there. And
that empty spot is just...
It's just empty. Yeah.
And
but you don't feel that now.
Oh, I'm so full. And I can't even tell you. I want to go out and speak. I wrote this other book.
What is this
called
book?
Kingdom Language.
Okay.
What we should and how we should speak and why.
Okay.
And then
I'm going to read this.
I've recently found another way. Right now we are in ending days, the ending times, and
that's the book.
The secrets. Yes, that's the book, Kingdom Language. But the secrets and the mysteries are being opened. And it's kind of a different concept, but it's written in the Bible.
Well, I always say to everybody, and I do say this to everybody I meet if we're talking about religion or something, I always say to them, read the back of the Bible. The back of the Bible, for some unknown reason, but you've got to really read it 2 or 3 times probably, because it really does tell you what's going on
tells you
right
secrets.
now.
Yes.
But you've got to understand those secrets, because you can read through it and not really understand
So that's why I haven't put this out, because I have a volume 2 on the upside of this. So
Okay.
I needed the volume 2 to come out with this, and that'll be in
So you can't bring this out yet until
yet.
you bring 2 out. How far ahead are you of 2?
I'm hoping to bring it out by October, November.
And why do you have to bring the 2 out at one time? Why can't you
Because
just read
this doesn't have it. This is the beginning of the what it is. But right now I'm in the uptick of the.
And it only takes 2 books to actually put this whole thing together. How cool is that?
Yeah, and I mean it's all.
And how? I don't know if I should ask you, but I'm going to ask you: how do you have the knowledge for all this? You were not into God for many, many years. I don't know.
The Holy Spirit has been so good to me. He talks to me, and I have Eddie.
Can you send him my way a little bit and ask him to talk to me?
I mean, it's just amazing. My testimony. You said this is a testimony. I am a caregiver. I'm a critical care caregiver.
Okay.
And my last patient was a housebound patient, so I was a live-in caregiver, and I did not have Christ. And one day, my next door neighbor had a dog, and he jumped up on me and scratched my leg. I started bleeding. So it was quite extensive. But anyway, I put a couple of bandages on it, and it stopped bleeding. I went to bed that night, and all of a sudden, I got up to go to the restroom about 1 o'clock in the morning, and I heard an audible voice say, Jeremiah 30:13. And
you knew nothing much about the Bible, right?
No. I didn't even know what Jeremiah was. And then I went to the bathroom. I came back and I'm just getting ready to go to sleep. And again, Jeremiah 30:13.
And
loud.
And 13 is not really a lucky number.
But that wasn't it. It was about the Band-Aid on my leg. You cannot push your wounds together. And I'm like so stunned. This voice, I fell on the floor. I was sobbing like, you have spasms.
Is that because you didn't understand what was going on?
No, it was out of a bit of a fright.
Your fear.
And I knew. I just got reborn. I knew. It was like, oh my God.
But this has kind of been all your life.
Yeah, I mean,
when you say you were 2 or 3 years old and you started, going into the entertainment business because of your mother was wanted you out there, wanted you doing stuff, whatever. Why? I don't know. But she had some intellect in her mind. She knew what was going on and what was happening, and she wanted your talent out there. Because you were ultimately talented. You had so many, many talents.
That was, yeah.
And then God came to you in a totally strange way of a couple of Band-Aids.
Boy, you hit it right on the, yeah. And he actually said in Jeremiah 30:13, you cannot heal your wounds by pushing them together, nor with a plastic binding.
But he didn't really mean it that way. He was going into your inner self.
Well, on the inside, physiologically, on the inside, he heals from the inside out.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's 5 verses later, he says. But the fact is, I knew he was there.
Did you know he was right? Did you know did you understand it?
No.
So when
I just put 2 and 2 together. There's somebody in here talking to me. And he was talking to me, and I thought, oh my gosh. And I fell on the floor. And I just spasmed.
You fell on the floor. Actually, falling on the floor, you acknowledge him because, you kneel on the floor and you kiss the floor. A lot of people don't kiss the floor. The floor's fine. You can kiss it any time you want. But that's where he is. True. You can. And so you did.
Yes.
How many years ago was that?
That was 5.
5 years ago.
5 years ago. So I got reborn at 1 o'clock
and
on September 1.
And did you understand it all?
No, did not.
Even
I knew it was him.
So you did know he. So you did know he was around somewhere in all your life. Oh, I understand
yes,
now. Yeah?
Yes, no, I did because I wrote. I forgot to bring it. I have an album that I wrote. I was going to be interviewed by the 700 Club.
Oh, how fun.
And they had the book, and they had my CD, my album. It's a CD that I had sang, and I wrote all those songs. I said, and they came back to me. They said, you went through the board, but you don't have your salvation. We can't take you on this show. And I said, you're wrong. I have my salvation. And I didn't. A year later, he came to me.
Yeah.
And then I knew. Yeah. They were right.
Well, often I look in life and I often see that maybe you weren't meant to be with part of God when you were growing up and when you were appearing in all these different places. Because if God had he was always there with you, always. You just didn't acknowledge it. Yeah, I know. But you're always there. So he allowed you to do all that up until 5 years ago.
Yeah, I thought, why?
Because you were such...
because my ego wouldn't allow me to...
No, because you were so gifted. You were so gifted with so many things that he wanted you to give your gift to all these people, and that's what you did.
Well, that's a good scenario. I like that.
God loves people that are gifted, and he loves them out there. And probably he didn't want to interfere just yet, because he wanted you to give all your gifts out there, because you did have many of them. I mean, I'm just assuming this, but I truly do believe that's, you always have, all of us have God. It's just a matter of when we recognize it and when we don't recognize it, when we want it, when we don't want it, and usually when we're desperate, oh, God, please help me, all of a sudden.
I know,
he'll turn around and say, I'm always there for you.
I know, but I didn't know.
Well, you know now.
I know now. It's so exciting. I want to glorify him in everything I do. And, you hit a lot of people now, oh my goodness, that don't want to hear about it.
Well, I don't know what's going to happen to them all, but I do know that they all have God, and it's just a matter of recognizing it and bringing it forth. And
I'm hoping.
We all know, it's funny, in the entire world, we're all the same. There's the men and there's the women. Or I don't care what color you are, how big you are, how small you are. I don't care what you are. We're all the same.
Turn us inside out.
There you go. You've got the women and you've got the men all over the world.
That's right.
And we're all the same. We just speak different languages. We just look different. But we're all basically the same all over the world. And
I did want to tell you one portion of this when I was called as his legal guardian after he got out of prison for 3 years.
This is your ex-husband?
Yes, the one.
Had you divorced him by now?
They wouldn't let me. The lawyer was a crooked lawyer, and he wanted me to carry on with the company so they wouldn't let me divorce him while he was in prison. And then he got sick, and that they said that I had to come and do his hospice because that's what I do. And so I went I thought it would be a few weeks, and it was a 51-day hospice in his daughter's house, and they did not care for me, and so it was a very, very hard time for me. But I found that was the first time I was in the presence of demons. With the moment he died, I was in the house alone, and I absolutely knew it. Yeah, he got up after a week. He was in a coma for a week, and on the moment he died, he got up off the bed and he stood up and he screamed, "No!"
He was dead?
He was dead. Well, he was in his coma, and he stood up and he screamed.
And then he died?
And then he died. He did that 3 times, and then he died.
And then he died. And so he was trying to get whatever was within him to come out and escape, and he was probably hoping if he brought that out, he would be able to stay alive, maybe.
We don't know. I don't know, but I was the only one there. But it was, if my guesstimation, there are demons, and he had quite a few take him off.
Demons inside him?
Yeah.
Yeah? Did you feel, because you didn't believe in God, did you ever feel that you had demons in you?
I never thought about it. I was so busy doing everything. I was busy doing everything.
Busy lady.
I was busy doing everything, and so I really never really thought about it until I lost everything in my life. I lost everything. And
so
then,
were you given everything, and it was all taken away?
Yeah. And so,
were you surprised about that, or were you? How did you cope with that in your thought of your private thoughts, not telling anybody else, but your private thoughts? I mean, to turn around and say, "Listen, I was so popular, and I had all these shows, and I was a singer. It
was hard to accept. It's still. If I didn't understand that God has me where He wants me right now, and it took all those years, and if I didn't understand and know that, it might be different. I might be lonely again.
Yeah, I don't think you'll ever be lonely because your personality is too much. Too much now. So from now on, as of today, what would you like, and what would you really like to accomplish? You've accomplished so much.
I would love to speak to people about how to find them and how to get that emptiness gone, how to find Christ. I mean, you've got to know we have to have Christ. And when you have faith, you have it.
I have faith.
And when you don't, you don't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that simple.
Faith is a funny thing because people really don't know what faith is.
Yeah. And
faith is believing.
I want everybody to know what I have.
Yes.
You know, thou preparest a table in the presence of my enemies.
Yes.
Well, what does she have when she walks in the room? Look at her. How come she's always so happy? I want them to have that, and that's Christ.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing? So what would you like to say to all the women out there over, I think it's, what was, you had a program called 55 and over, was it?
Yes, I did. I had a 55 plus.
55 plus.
Yes. We just actually, Eddie Blackwell and myself just finished a program also called Kingdom Language on KKVV, the radio channel, Christian radio channel. So we will be back on KKVV one of these days. And we are going to be doing some more radio and television throughout.
I've got to get you on Dale Davidson's show. He does a
I've done Dale's show. I'm going to do it again.
Good.
I'll be doing it again.
Yes, he's a fabulous guy. He's wonderful, but he has a great show about religion and everything. But he brings in your own life as well. It's not all religion.
We had this one on his program, and that was when he interviewed me when I didn't have Christ, and I thought I did. I didn't. And he interviewed me when I did this. Yeah. So I was talking about God, but remember I went on the 700 Club council, and they said, no, you can't because you don't have Christ. And I did. Yes. I do now.
You do now.
Yes.
Well, that's wonderful. Well, Linda Kristy has been a long story, and she's gone through different parts of life. I had no idea we were going to be talking about so much religion, but I'm never opposed of it.
A relationship with Christ,
relationship with Christ, which means you don't really have to go to church. You don't have to do a lot of things you think you have to do, but you have to believe, and you have to have faith. You've got to have faith, and you've got to sort of, and respect other people. And if you can do other things for other people, try to do it. It's better to do something good than something bad.
Amen.
Believe me.
Amen.
It truly is. And I think, I announced how old I was a couple of years ago. I'm not going to announce it today because I'm 39 and holding, and I don't know if I agreed with myself of letting everybody know how old I was, but I'm actually quite proud of how old I am. But what I think both of us want to do is give back now, because we've both experienced quite a lot in life. How can anybody reach you?
Linda Kristy, Kristy, lindakristy.com. You can reach me at that's my website. If you want to buy either one of these books, it's my website, lindakristy.com. And that's about it.
That's about it.
That's about it. I will be on Dale's show. We will have another radio program.
Fabulous.
Eddie and I. We've got a lot of plans doing for Christ.
Well, she's got the energy now. She's not depressed and going into a corner for a few weeks. She's out there now. So watch it. If you see her, just say hello, because you'll have a great conversation with her. Absolutely amazing. But also, thank you all for watching. We've had some great shows coming up. And of course, I did Vegas Live with Ninon for nearly 8 years. And because of COVID-19, that was sort of like a lot of shows, they disappeared. My Vegas Live with Ninon has never disappeared because it's still on YouTube. It's under NDD Network. And of course, Action Shot Productions is my new producer, Steve Sibo. He's amazing. I had him and we parted because of, I guess, COVID and the whole bit. And then we're back again and we're doing great. So anybody who would like to come on the show, get in touch with us. You know where to do it. NDD Network. And thank you all for watching so much. Great guest. Isn't she amazing?
Thank you so much for having me.
Linda Kristy, she's amazing. We'll be right back with our next guest. Take care.